Hello and welcome to Tête-à-tête with Tiwa. I'm Tineke.
And I'm Wally.
And today we're slap bang in the middle of 16 days of activism against violence against women. So we thought we'd have a conversation about it, really. Wally was involved in a play recently where it was basically talking about financial violence. Is that a term?
Yeah, abuse. I think
abuse.
more so. I think abuse is a word. The play is called The Wake, written by Sefiata. It was directed by Omoye Uzamere on Clubhouse. So it was an audio play. So essentially, the reason why we're talking about it now is because in that play, there's a couple who've been married for 47 years, and at the wake of one of their friends, a stranger, a total stranger, is the one that comes and sits next to them and is the one that's telling the woman, or making her aware about the widow of the person that had passed, and the fact that she had no financial control or perhaps even awareness
Knowledge,
in her marriage, and as a result of that, she was in a pickle because she knew nothing to do with her husband's finances. And these things happen because whenever she wanted anything, she would go to her husband for it, and he would. One assumes that he would readily provide, but you see, the provision alone is not the answer, which is why she ended up in a pickle. I was talking about the fact that there was a friend that passed, and his brothers came and usurped
took
everything that he owned. This was to do with the will also, or the lack thereof. And the brothers came and they usurped everything. And
But do you think that is I mean, okay, I don't even want to go off topic,
right.
but do you think that is possibly a cultural thing as well?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because within the culture.
So I think, okay, let's even come back to the violence against women exists in so many forms. Obviously, we're talking about financial abuse here, but there's physical abuse is one that most people know and talk about, but it's probably, dare I say, one of the lesser ones.
Yeah.
In the sense that, I mean, I know you can end up dead, and I know, and I'm not saying it's not serious, but that's psychological abuse, emotional abuse is so much more harmful.
Yeah, because
what it does to you, it's like, at least if you're beating you. I remember a friend of mine saying to me, I wish you would just beat me, because then I will, have this scar or whatever, but I will get over it. But what he's doing is literally driving me crazy. It's like, you know what I mean? And so I think that it's important to identify that there are different types of abuse.
Absolutely.
I think financial abuse is one that people don't really
talk about
or even identify. Because I think even if I go from a Christian point of view,
right,
where you know to become one,
and
what is you submit to your husband, and what you become one, so you don't question necessarily. I mean, this is not what should be the case, but I think often within a lot of women can think that not questioning is submission, not challenging, not asking to be part of certain things is submission. Do you understand what I mean?
Right.
And so I think that sometimes that can be misconstrued. So you can end up in a situation where you're being financially abused, but you don't actually know because you think that you've just been a good wife.
Like in this case, the wife, the 47 years married, wasn't aware.
No, she didn't even think about it.
She didn't think about it
until and that's what I mean. Because, and also, depending on where you grow up and what culture you're in, that's the norm.
Right. Okay.
So you might not even, and that's why I said to you, do you think it's cultural? Because you might not even, it might not, if nobody drew her attention to it, it wasn't an issue.
It wasn't an issue.
It was, so she didn't, and the fact that you don't know you're being abused, does that negate the fact that you're being abused?
So here's the thing. I wanted to highlight that. At times, the abuser is not aware
That they are abusing.
that they are abusing.
That is true, yeah.
So they might be innocent in the thought. You know, it's not a deliberate. They just think, well, I'm taking care of her. I'm here to. I'll sort everything. I'm here to provide. But in itself can be abuse. So this is not necessarily a dig or jab at people who are in this situation currently, or you know, but it's really to bring the awareness that this actually falls under financial abuse. You know, there has to be equity within this relationship. Say to become one, not to become 70-30, you know what I mean? It's not, you know, one understands that if two are brought together, then you're talking about a 50-50 relationship. That's actually how it's supposed to be. Or 100-100, you know what I mean? Yes. So yes, I think we're highlighting it more so that, like I said before, so that people understand that you really need to think about these things. The fact that, you know, we know physical abuse, like we've spoken of before, that, you know, it's a no-brainer, no. But so is all the other forms of abuse. But saying it so that you are aware that it is possible to psychologically be abusing your spouse. So psychologically, emotionally, there's emotional, and I think it's different from just the psychological. You know, financial we've spoken about. But there are other, so this is my thing to whoever is listening. Perhaps you should ask your spouse how they feel about all these different areas. And then it might highlight whether or not they're feeling, or there's a lack somewhere, or do you see what I mean? A deficit of some sort. That might be, in actual fact, abuse. That maybe even both of them are not aware of, you know, but which can come out later on and show itself up ugly, which is what happened in the case of the widow in the play, The Wake.
I don't know, I just feel that women, we suffer. Like, as in this, I'm not, I mean, we have a lot of advantages, I'm not taking that away, but I feel like there's so much, I guess it's the way society kind of has been over the years, and the way we were seen as lesser sex, and the way, you know, so I think all those things have perpetuated the way
that things are turning out.
And I guess it's time to change that now. Well, it's way past time, but you know, I mean, to change that so that people understand that we're just as worthy as.
Absolutely. Well, you know.
But you see, I mean, we say this, right? And okay, we're saying it specifically because it's the 16 days of activism against violence against women.
Right.
But there are human beings that have been abused, period.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, there's violence against men as well, but this is not the case that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But we'll highlight it today just because it is one of those things. There are women that actually abuse their husbands physically, emotionally, and so on and so forth. Some even financially as well.
Yep.
You know. So essentially, be kind, be considerate, have empathy. You know,
I mean, I
these
think
things.
if you find yourself to be in a situation where you feel you are being abused, seek help.
Absolutely.
Seek help. At least get advice to even see if you are being abused and what you can do about it. Because I think sometimes, again, I'm generalizing, but again, because it tends to happen more to women, I think. And we, again, this submission thing, we have to be, we just accept it as our lot, as opposed to thinking that actually this is not right.
It's not right.
You know,
and things should change.
Like this, So sometimes we just accept it as, well, that's why I married and that's how it is, and, you know.
And you know, I say, why I talk about speaking up as well, you know, this communicating, speaking up, because the person that is perpetuating this thing at times is not aware and is able to change. If it's like, no, this is not the right way to treat me. And that can stop the person in their tracks. Like, okay, do you know what I mean? But if you keep on accepting it, or, you know, it's the way...
And you see, because a lot of time, a lot of people, I think, are not so intentional about their relationships, so they might treat their wife how they saw their father treat them, or what they saw, without really thinking about
that's not
whether
the
it's
right,
right or wrong, or whether
yeah.
I can do it differently or anything. They just do what they saw, or
Yeah.
they just, you know what I mean? So I think, you know, I mean, Wale is always saying this thing. Well, I say it to communication. But if you are in an abusive situation, seek help. There's so much help out there.
Absolutely.
Pretty much worldwide. But I mean, we're in the UK, and in the UK there is a lot of help. And just
find the courage. Find the courage if you're being abused. Find the courage. Seek help. Find the courage to seek help. It's important because what you're trying to save might only be able to be saved if you seek help.
So you made a statement that you said find the courage.
Yes.
You know, I work with people that have been in domestic violence situations, and this is usually physical domestic violence, physical abuse.
Yes.
It's so much easier said than done.
I imagine
It's so much easier said than done, because when you have been abused to the point where you have lost your self-esteem, you have lost as in you've been minimized to nothing.
Right.
To find that courage, you know, you say it, find the courage.
No. Don't get me
like
wrong. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not belittling how difficult it is and how hard it might be to seek that courage. What I am being at this point is just another voice reiterating the fact or the option of seeking help, finding the courage.
Yep.
Maybe when one hears it enough times, it could just be that one voice. By no means am I belittling.
And sometimes I guess seeking help is even just telling someone about it.
Yeah.
So maybe not going to like any domestic violence charity or anything, but just telling someone
Somebody
about
about
it, so that you know that you have that moral support
Right.
from another person, at least until you build up enough strength to take the next step. Because I think sometimes, you know, when you're not in a situation, you know, because I remember my first encounter with domestic violence, and I remember thinking, why are you here? You should have left. But it's not like that, as in it's not like that. You can't, because by the time they get to that point, what has happened to them emotionally, psychologically, before they even get to the physical beating, you know, I mean, they're unable to, you know, so it's just, but yes, anyway, we just wanted to weigh in on this 16th day of activism, and basically say that if you are in an abusive relationship and you're aware of it, seek help however you can.
If you're an abuser, you need to seek help as well.
Seek help.
Because everything is not balanced.
But also have conversations so that you can find out, because like Wale was saying, you might not know that you're abusing.
Yeah.
Possibly, you might not know that you're abusing. So if you have a conversation with your spouse, and we're talking specifically within a marriage relationship, to see how they feel about things. And we're going to have that conversation straight after this.
Okay.
Yes. So you ask me how I feel about
absolutely
everything, so that I can tell you if you're abusing me or not.
I shall ask you the same questions.
To know if I'm abusing you.
Look,
fair enough.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, two-way street. Okay. That's it. See you next time.
Ciao.